What's up, dudes? It's Molly. It's 7:30 a.m. Spirit wants us to learn about autism. Yeah, if you identify as spectrum-y, autistic, sensitive, weird, psychic, anything that sounds like that, yeah, listen up. If you're around my age, so I am going to be 50 years old in October, and I don't know, maybe 15 years up or down either. Very loose, no hard lines. I hear that. Okay. I am channeling, so anything I say is part of your message. You may never have gotten an autism diagnosis, maybe until now when you're a grown adult. And it can be life-altering because you go through a whole process of emotions. It's kind of like, at first, it's like, what? Shame. What? Shame. Wait, I'm the short bus. Shame! And no offense to anyone who rode the short bus. We're just getting real honest. And then, because what that shame is stereotypes that are running through your head. And they're stereotypes that run through, quote unquote, neurotypical people's heads, still to this day. Especially a lot of older people. A lot of younger people know more about what it means to be spectrum-y or autistic. So, in the autistic community, whether or not you got, most people are in the spiritual community, most people are, give just as much respect to people who have gotten a diagnosis from a doctor or a therapist as to people who self-diagnose. So a lot of autistic people have imposter syndrome. So that can be like compounded imposter syndrome when you've self-diagnosed yourself. And so part of that, and for people who may not be spectrum-y, why would people self-diagnose rather than going to the doctor? So a lot of people can't afford to go to the doctor. And to try to find a psychologist, pick up the phone, start calling psychologist offices. No, we're not taking any new clients. No, we don't take your insurance. Yeah, $200 an hour. And so, somebody went in to a doctor and said, I think I'm autistic. I've learned about autism. I have this when I do this. I did this as a child. I did this. And the doctor listens and the doctor says, I agree. I think you're on the spectrum too. Yeah. What has changed for the person? Nothing. It's not like you're going to go get an IEP. It's not like nothing changes for you. Except a doctor said what you already know. So that's why the autistic community, welcomes with open arms if you like to hug. Anyone. And other people need to understand, this isn't something that people, lie about. And so, if you start telling people that you're spectrum-y, And this is part of my mission. I want to help change the stigma of autism. Because a lot of people think they know what autism is, but they don't. A lot of people, so I'm going to link 3 specific videos that Spirit wants the whole collective to watch. There's 2 short ones, what women with autism want you to know, and the other one is called Ancient Autism. And then I'll do a longer one where it's like the history of autism. It's very informative. And so, like, one of the takeaways that's very important to understand for everybody, when people say spectrum, they tend to think of it as a linear thing where it's like, where do you fall on the line of totally different than everybody else? Like, how fucked up are you? That's not what that is. And so what the spectrum is, and this is what one of the women explained in that video, it's a perfect explanation. It's not like, where do you fall on the line? It's, autism is kind of a word for, we don't know what this is, so we're going to call it autism. And every time, like, we learn more and more about it, autism gets bigger and bigger. And so what autism is, rather than thinking about it as a line in your head of a spectrum, it's this asteroid 3-dimensional thing with all these different outlets on it. It's like a new race of people. And so you have asshole autistic people over here. Yeah. You have scary autistic people over here. And those are people where we hear like, yeah, boy cut off his mother's head and put it in a pot in the kitchen. Yeah, he had Asperger's. Oh my fucking God. Yeah, what if instead of that it said, boy cut up mother's head, put it in a pot, he had diabetes. Well, the diabetes didn't make him do it. No, neither did the Asperger's. Yeah, that dude was also a psychopath. That made him do it. The Asperger part of him, unfortunately, made him really good at cutting his mother's head off. So we gotta switch these stereotypes because people will associate and are painting people with broad brushes. And so I call those kind of people who are like psychopaths with autism, scary autistic people. So that would be Adolf Hitler. That would be Charles Manson. Highly intelligent, scary motherfuckers. Yeah, they're way over there. On the other side of the asteroid over here is Elon Musk, SpaceX people, shooting rockets the size of skyscrapers up into the sky, landing back down, saving some astronauts that are stuck in space. Yeah, coming back down. Over here is nonverbal people that are just rocking and drooling on themselves. Yeah, it's all autism. But people who don't understand that autism is a new race of people, people who've had the turn of the evolutionary wheel, people who are more sensitive, and sensitive doesn't mean big fucking pussy. No, sensitive means superhero. You can walk into a room, read the energy. You can communicate telepathically with some people. That sounds freaky to people who don't understand. And telepathic communication is not like a walkie-talkie. It's not like, how you doing? I see you there. I'm doing great. Yeah, don't look over there. There's a weirdo looking at you in the corner. I said, don't look over there. No, it's not like that. It's like having a communication through vague emotions back and forth with somebody and being able to read their energy. So there's all these things that high-functioning spectrum-y people can do, but we have people who have not had the turn of the evolutionary wheel in their own stereotypical mind saying, yeah, look at the short busser over there. They're kind of weird. And they're the old PlayStation. And everybody else, the spectrum-y people, are the new PlayStations. And you can play the new games and the old games on the new PlayStation, but the old PlayStation can only comprehend the old games. So we have two kinds of people existing right now. So, and unfortunately, the neurotypical, which I hate that because it makes autistic people sound not normal. So the neurotypical old-fashioned Neanderthal, however you like to say it, are patting the heads, and they can't, of geniusy people, and they can't even comprehend what is happening. And so if you all of a sudden may have an aha moment and say, I really fit in with a lot of these things, a lot of my issues, a lot of my anxiety, a lot of this vague question mark that I'm always trying to like find where home is. A lot of my childhood is easily explained the more I learn about this. If you have that moment, a lot of times like cogs and wheels start after you go through the shame cycle, because then you start learning and then you're like, wait a minute. Yeah. Autism has changed a lot since fucking Rain Man. It sure has. And so if you choose to tell people, there will be some people that will judge you. There will be some people that say, somebody said to me, bullshit, prove it. I know more about autism than you do. And knowing that I have an autistic daughter, and then they followed it up with, we accept Lucy. Some people will just respond very weird. And then you will have other people who will just be fine with it. No big deal. And so just be prepared that the old-fashioned stereotypes are still rearing their ugly heads. And you may not find the acceptance or comfort that you're hoping to get with some people. But just know it has no reflection on you. It has something to do with them. They are not able to accept reality for whatever reason. And it may be because like those kind of people may have picked on you, been cruel to you, done mean things to you. And it was easier for them to do it to somebody, who they projected a false reality about, rather than the truth. And if they have to face that they picked on an innocent person for no reason at all, that's a hard thing to face. So sometimes people will dig their heels into a false reality. And so that's just part of the experience. But you will find other people who are like, what's up? Welcome to the club. Yeah, and then you'll start realizing there's this like totally cool, fun, sexy part of autism where people start like flexing their powers, showing their magic. The high vibing people, the highly intelligent people who may be enlightened, awakened, a well of information. So if you're feeling alone and misunderstood, the first thing I try to say to anybody who might identify as like an older person like me is that the first thing for healing is to understand you feel emotions more than the average population. So then the neurotypicalers. But now it's starting to flip. Pretty soon we're going to get where there's more spectrum-y people on planet Earth than neurotypical. It's evolution, baby. So you feel feelings -1,000, really fucking sad, all the way to +1,000, really fucking happy. A neurotypical, or the old PlayStation people, the Neanderthals, I call them. Usually I say Neanderthal, so thal may mean something or something like that. They can only comprehend in their head. So think about this as a calculator. They will error out. Their mind can't even comprehend feeling sadder than 0. And you can feel sad all the way to -1,000. And they can only comprehend happiness to 100. And you are feeling it all the way to 1,000. So part of the healing journey for everyone is to understand not everyone experiences life the same. And so when you understand, while you were plugging in at 8:54, I hear, negative, pretty fucking sad, and everybody was being so fucking apathetic toward you, it's because they could not comprehend what you were going through. So once you understand that hurt, and I call it like, I hear radical change in perception. Okay, yeah, all right. I call it like justified butthurtness. They're like justified butthurt that you have, which usually starts with, why didn't you? How couldn't you? Why did you just? Yeah, all those kind of phrases that have clenched in your heart for so fucking long, they don't go away, but they lessen up. And so once you start learning about autism and what being spectrum-y means, and I like to use the word spectrum-y because it has less of a stereotype to it. And so once you learn what being spectrum-y means, you'll start healing and you'll start feeling so much better. Like so much better. That melancholy question mark will start dissolving away. The depression may lift a little bit. Sometimes we just need answers so we can breathe out. And so I always say knowledge is the key to freedom. So there's a little bit on if you're gonna choose to, just share with people, you may you have to remember that you probably know more about autism than they do. Yeah, pretty much guaranteed. But they're gonna pretend like they know more about it than you do. It's this weird ego thing. It's a weird, a whole bunch of factors go into whether or not people accept you or not. And a lot of times with people who went their whole life without any sort of help, you got abused a lot. And people may have to face all the abuse you got. And that may be very uncomfortable for a lot of people, so they might just dip out. So if that has happened to you, just know that it's not you. And Spirit is proud of you for learning about yourself, and the more you learn about yourself, the better you're gonna feel. Yeah, and welcome to the club, weirdo. Yeah, you are weird, but now you know why. All right, so yeah, stay weird. Seriously, dudes, the anxiety is called the autism mask crumbles. Sometimes that happens with a spiritual awakening. You just, it's like your whole life you've been juggling balls so fucking fast, or you're an engine on a table that's just chugging, and oil and valves are squirting, and then all of a sudden you just put the balls down, and then everything comes crashing down. But then there you are, you're still there. And that's when you get to meet your true self. And darling, you're a sexy motherfucker. It's true. Oh my God. Go you. All right. Peace out. Love ya. Have a good day, you sexy motherfucker.